Bricks. Insignificant, right? Well, they're everywhere we look at, but still go unnoticed. These are the foundations of our cities, ranging from that plain blank wall to the construction of the Fifth Avenue. They're even commemorated in songs. Pink Floyd, talking about you. So this evidences the fact that the most insignificant can be very meaningful. And this is what I want to tell you about. Hi, my name is Teresa, and I come from Newton College. So we as human beings oftentimes feel insignificant because we don't do big things or make massive changes. But this is by no means any close to reality. Let's be honest, we are utterly insignificant to the physical universe. I mean, 1 in 7,900 million people. But fame or being known shouldn't be our main goal, because this is by no means going to offer us that happiness we so desire. Our generation has been raised to believe that insignificance is something that we should be afraid of, when it really shouldn't. Carlos Strenger, a Tel Aviv University psychologist, demonstrated that after the fall of the Berlin Wall, a few decades ago, this idea of fearing insignificance raised in society. This idea of being nothing in others' eyes, of not knowing if our life is worth living. But how do we know if this is true? How do we know if our life has value? Well, according to Strenger, this depends on our innate tendencies to compare ourselves with others. We tend to do this so much that some studies have demonstrated that in work, for instance, we don't care about our personal earnings anymore, but we do care if our colleagues earn more than what we do. So bricks. We would be these. We could even consider a 99% of the population to be such. Likewise, we would have buildings, people who have managed to get a name in society. Important people. But something we have to understand is that perspective is essential, because you will always be young in someone's eyes and old in someone else's. Talented for one person and terrible for the next. A brick to some, and buildings to others. Now I have a question for you. Do you know who these people are? These are buildings. My buildings. They're the people I really care about. Because in the end, the difference between me and Taylor Swift, for instance, is that I am a building to these 6, while she is a building to hundreds of thousands. So, if we go back a couple of years in time, we will realize that the world was much smaller, meaning we can currently compare ourselves to so many more people. And in many cases, unrealistic processed marketing products, which, thanks to social media, are absolutely everywhere. The thing is, we live in a period in which humanity is too busy ranking individuals according to net worth or celebrity status, rather than focusing on their actual achievements. Now I ask you, who would you like to be like? I asked this exact same question to a few of my classmates, and their answers varied from Gordon Ramsay to Michael Jordan to Nicki Minaj. And so we compare ourselves to them. Rich, handsome, successful, or simply famous. And this is leading to an exponential increase in the health crisis. According to a study published by the Journal of Abnormal Psychology in 2019, anxiety cases amongst teens have risen by a 71%. Major depression by a 69%, and suicide rates from children varied from 15 years old to 21 by a 56%. As the bricks that we are, both special and insignificant, we always end up comparing ourselves with these buildings. We look at the people we want to be like and end up confusing admiration with aspiration. And finding happiness will be impossible until we realize that we cannot all be buildings. It is simply impossible. So, I know that we all have our individual expectations, but what I'm trying to say is that they might be wrongly set. So my advice to my generation is simply endeavor to be yourself. Aim to become your own hero, because the only great person you can become is the best version of yourself. all the great people have already been taken. The funny thing is, people will witness your life after becoming this great version, and they will make the same mistake you once committed, attempting to be you. But you might be wondering, how do I know that my life is so incredibly valuable? Well, let's get into this scenario. Close your eyes for a minute. Imagine we're at your wedding ceremony. What would you like your guests to say in your wedding toast? Simply think of 3, 4 things that you would really like to be recognized for. Open your eyes. Now the question is, would these people be able to say it? Your answer to this question will give you clues to decide whether you're living according to what is valuable to you. And I know, we've all looked in the mirror at a certain point in our lives and seen a mess of a human being that nobody cared about. But what we don't see are the people we've touched or the lives we've saved. Because your life is indeed significant. There's someone currently listening to that song you recommended. Someone still laughs at that funny thing you said, and someone still smiles at that compliment you gave them. Because you don't have to be a building to make a positive difference in another person's life. Can you see this? I don't mean the petri dish, I mean everything inside. Of course you can't. It's a simple grain of clay. This is me. And my aim in life is not to become this giant building, not even the brick. I just want to make the 20 grains that surround me happy with the person I am and love me for me. And if I ever get to be as important as that person I once admired, it won't be because of my fear of insignificance, but because of my will to improve the lives of others. And this is what we should all be aiming for. Becoming the best version of ourselves, no matter if it's as clay, bricks, or buildings. And that will be our contribution to Earth.